Hello and welcome to Asterix and Obelix with Hissy and Godless Scummer. We have a nice busy chat today, so thank you all for coming, much appreciated. And those who are going to join us in future, you are more than welcome as well, so thank you for your time. And today we are heading off to Spain with our two intrepid goals, so this should be fun.
Indeed, yeah. Now, obviously, sorry, we're going a little later than originally planned, but we wanted to make sure watch Ring on Notch's channel, which was absolutely excellent. So pushed it back for that, and obviously after we get done today, people please go to Ring's stream as well. So, but we'll get to all the plugs and that at the end. But yeah, so Asterix in Spain. What did you reckon to this one?
I liked this one.
Yeah.
It amused me on so many different levels.
I did too. And I was a little bit concerned because I wasn't sure if I'd read this one. And there's not an awful lot I actually remember about this. I'm not still, I think this may have been the first time I've read, but I was kind of dreading that we'd have a repeat of Asterix and the Goths with a lot of the jabs, the jabs they took at the Germans and so on. I mean, there were some jabs, but they were generally far more better natured, and
and definitely more good natured,
and definitely I think a few sort of actual jabs at the French tourists in Spain being thrown in there as well, and tourists in Spain in general.
Yeah, I mean, a few of them read like someone had seen all the news stories we used to get of British tourists in Spain, so that's interesting to see that maybe it's not just the British, although we are definitely the worst for it.
We are.
We are terrible for going to Spain on holiday. So let's see.
Okay, cool. Okay, now let me go to my Kindle. And this is a little interesting thing. You haven't been introduced to this character yet, have you? Right on the very first page, Unhygienics, the fishmonger.
Yeah, why is Unhygienics a Londoner?
I'm sure that's just for English translation. But so today is March the 17th. What year have they said this? 45 BC. So I believe that's just under a year until actually Caesar's. That is sort of cool. And later, of course, this would be St. Patrick's Day. They point this out.
Yeah, which is funny because it's St. Patrick's Day. It's also St. Joseph's Day. That's just a personal thing from me. Yeah, St. Joseph the Carpenter's March 17th as well. But this is it's just a nice little. I like this scene in general. It's really fun, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it's just, I love it. I love the idea that Obelix just pays for everything with the manure.
Yeah. So if we get to the sort of start of this though, meanwhile in Spain, this is 1 year after his the supporters of Pompey. Caesar has just mopped up the survivors, and on things are going well for Caesar. Or going back to Rome, he wants to try, so he's in Iberia at the moment, which is obviously Spain.
Of course, famously, Caesar is talking to the 10th Legion here, but famously, it's the 9th Legion who had, shall we say, a good time in Spain.
Yes. I think we've talked a bit about the 9th Legion before. It's I think a lot of
sections about the 9th Legion.
Yeah,
but generally,
I'll say this: The Eagle of the Ninth is a good novel, but it's not history.
I will eventually get round to doing a video on how it's not history and what the actual history is. I'm sure I will.
And I do. I mean, I will say it is a good book, but just don't take it as history. It is, but so that's
it's really not history.
so
So the
he's planning. Caesar's planning a great triumph in Rome, and but I think once again, if we go to, I mean, you see that we're going to get a lot of oles in this.
a lot of
In
them.
this, we're going to get a lot of oles in this. So the Spanish.
Mm-hmm.
So, so you'd think Caesar's going back for all his. It's an officer who comes into Caesar's tent here.
This little joke at the top amused me so much. It's resting on his laurels. It's the idea of we all know what resting on your laurels means, but in this case, his laurel wreath that he would wear.
Literally, resting on his laurels. Yes.
Yeah. So nice little pun there, which I'm sure Ring will appreciate in the chat, as he usually does with puns.
And I love this again. So it's Veni Vidi Vici once again, and so not quite Vici.
Not quite. We should.
Does this sound familiar here? Because I think we are picking up little tropes in Asterix books here with some of the things. Would you believe it? There's one little village in Spain that's causing them problems.
Would you have any there? So that's a nice little hook. I like that.
Yeah.
French village and a little Spanish village, and you know where this is going already. So, and he decides then he wants to look into the matter personally.
Yep.
And off they go.
Yeah. So they're off then, and they get told to halt. And who is telling them to halt here? You got a little kid with a slingshot.
Oh, this just amuses me so much. This little kid, he's such a little brat.
I was going to say, this kid is going to feature a lot in this book, but throughout it, he is such an entitled little brat. He is not likable at all. He's probably as close as I've got to rooting for the Romans. This
yeah.
But he is the son of the chieftain. So he hits Caesar in the head with a and this is another little thing you're going to see with him. He's got this propensity for biting people.
He's a little ankle biter. And this I've noticed as well, there is a trope in these comics for the upper class little brat.
Yeah.
There really is that trope. Yeah. You had the lad from Paris.
Yeah.
A few weeks back. Now we've got this one, and the chieftain's son is you can't get much more upper class in a tribe than the chieftain's son.
Yeah. I mean, you give him his due. He's a brave, ferocious but he's a little git at the same time. He's an absolute little git.
And there's a nice little comment that's passed later on in this, and I'm not going to spoil it till we get to it.
Yeah.
But there's a nice it's not what you expect. It's sort of a lampshading of that trope that's been established about the chieftain's sons.
And very easy in this panel right in the center here, Caesar actually says you can see that child has noble blood in him. So they're being pretty damn obvious here with the trope they're going with here, and so they've got the little get, and I'm sorry, I'm probably going to be referring to him as a lot as the little get in this. So quite frankly,
a little brat, yeah.
And they're at the walls of this Spanish village, and Caesar's.
Yeah, and actually, I did make a banner.
Yeah.
So we'll use that. I'll
Okay.
do like this thing of "you shall not pass." And how am I to address the young?
Oh yeah. Oh, we know exactly how that should be addressed, especially in Spanish.
Mm-hmm. So very interesting. I love the idea that this little kid, biting the soldiers. It's just perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They shall not pass. Non pas. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is if people who know their Spanish Civil War history, or and it's a slogan that's been taken up by like anti-fascist protesters around I mean, even during the time the Spanish Civil War was going on, like even in Britain, like the Battle of Cable Street, which happened in the year the Spanish Civil War started, that there was an actual the cry of the sort of anti-fascist protesters when Oswald Mosley's BUF tried to march through the Jewish area in London was "They shall not pass." So it's good little callback to that in a way.
Yeah, a little callback to that. And then we have the Romans now meeting this kid's father. Now they've taken him hostage.
Yeah.
And again, another pun. See, so this guy likes making puns, doesn't he? Keep your hair on, or you'll be hairless.
Mm.
Um, kind of a homophone pun there. But this chief, though, this is brilliant because this chief knows exactly who and what his son is.
Yeah.
And this comment is just every parent ever, I think. And I'm not a parent, but I imagine so. My only
His son,
consolation is they'll
yeah.
have the work cut out with that boy.
They've got his son. They've got his son. They've got his son hostage, and he's more like, yeah, poor buggers.
Yeah. I mean, to be
So
fair, if your kid gets taken hostage, you kind of hope that that's the situation, don't you? A little bit.
yeah, they're gonna have a lot of.
That gave me kind of flashbacks because when I was a kid, it used to be no one would kidnap you because they bring you back after 10 minutes. You talk their ear off, and it's that sort of attitude, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, although to be fair, when it was said about me, it was said in jest. But
So they've decided that what they're going to decide to do is they're going to take him away from as far away as as they're going to take him a long way away from
yeah,
the Spanish village, sort of. So they got him. They got the little get safe.
can we zoom in on this bottom row? Because this
Okay.
idea of Caesar telling his men to really take care of this boy and be careful of him.
Mm-hmm.
This is
Is this it? Is this what you're
fairly
thinking?
historically accurate. The
Yeah.
idea of mistreating a hostage was just a big no-no.
Yeah.
So this is actually very well done.
This is I mean, this is a custom that went well into the medieval and age as well. The hostages.
I mean, you can trace the influence of it straight into the Geneva Convention.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, the way that, like, say, modern prisoners of war are, but quite often this was a thing where if nobles would sometimes, even if it was a peace treaty, it may not be war, that each side would send each other 10 hostages each, so probably from noble families, and it was kind of that thing of it was there, it was kind of an insurance guarantee in a certain way on both sides. So yeah, but it wasn't like they were kept hostages were kept kind of prisoners or like in a dungeon somewhere. No, they actually would get treated quite well. So we'll flip over. But of course, Romans in their infinite wisdom has decided to send him to a little camp in northern Gaul,
Of course.
outside a certain little village. So yeah, good thinking there, Romans. That was really good thinking. And look who's out boar hunting. Okay, so And it looks like Obelix. I was going to say, he looks like he's kind of getting bored here because hasn't had no new Romans to pound on for a little while. So, meanwhile, another part of the forest, and yeah, see, sort of mean the way they're treating the kid here. They're carrying him round. He's been a little git throughout. He's bitten them all. And like they had to admit, look, you're getting us down. You've got on our nerves here. And they're almost at this Roman camp, and they just want, I just think they've had enough of him now. And I love the fact the kid is well aware of what's going to happen to these Romans if they mistreat him or anything. I love this. Don't forget, O Spirus Brontosaurus, if anything happens to me, you'll have to answer for it with your head. So I'm going to hold my breath until something does happen to me.
This little brat, I swear.
And he does this a lot. This is his go-to.
We've all known that kid who does that, and it's just like.
And he knows
he pass out?
He's and he knows he's in a position of power here as well. That's the problem. He knows he's in a position of power. So he's basically insisted they're going to play hide and seek with him or something. I love this. They're playing, he's like, I love the fact that I love this little one. I don't even know what the number is. Maybe you can tell me. Yes, see, they're playing. They said they're going to go get the little get, but I haven't counted. I haven't counted to 100 yet. I'm only at. I love this.
67.
Yeah, but it's like I haven't counted to C yet. I'm only at LXVII.
Yeah, so I haven't counted to 100 yet. I'm only at 67.
Yeah.
Which is
why that's a visual joke. That's really fantastic.
Yeah.
Look through the kids. Bumps in. Of course, he bumps into Asterix and Obelix.
Of course he does, because it's of course. Well, who else is he going to bump into?
And he's saying, "Let me go. There's some baddies after me." It's just, oh, don't worry, there he is. Romans. Oh dear. And Obelix is brand new ones. So they don't know. They don't know what they're in for here. They'll that kindly hand over that child, and you just sort of see the way that kid started it. Ole, you get a lot of the oles there in this.
You get a lot of it.
Yeah, I won't read what that thing says at the bottom. Actually, I'll just say I think it probably has a different connotation than what.
I think because it's an older, it's older English, and until I think quite recently, that word just generally meant harming or assaulting. There was no baggage to it.
If anybody saw that on screen, there's a reason I'm not. There's a reason I'm not reading. That I'm not going to read that out but it's just a word with which I think had a pretty
less baggage back then.
Pretty more different, or less baggage and different usages, that sort of thing.
So originally, I mean, it would mean to harass, pester, or assault someone, and wasn't necessarily a sexualized comment.
Yeah,
it's only really in the modern usage it's gained that.
But yes, mainly. So we're not going to say it live because YouTube gets a bit funny about these things, and we've had problems before, so we're going to try not to tempt fate here. So Obelix gets his finger bit by the little git. I'm just calling him that because that's what he is. He's a little git.
He's not a brat.
He is an absolute brat.
I like this. I am the son of a chief. People ought to show me respect. Daddy said so.
Yeah.
So, oh my gosh, it's every upper class twit, isn't it, that you've ever met?
Mm.
His daddy's little boy's got to. Oh.
So they take him to the chief, and I always think this is like Monty Python a little bit before this. You got a big nose.
Big nose.
Yeah. And Obelix is trying not to laugh here as well.
And then the chief takes a nap.
Yeah, I think he's had enough of him already. I think
he's only had one panel with him, and he's had enough.
And so meanwhile at the Roman camp,
I want to draw attention to this centurion's name. Raucous Hallelujah Chorus.
Yeah, I love it.
Because the puns in these Roman names.
Oh, the puns in so many of the names are fantastic. But so you got the other Roman here is Brontosaurus. But let's see, and he's trying to enlist these other Romans to help him get the kid back here.
Yeah.
So and he's going back, even though he's got a hiding already. This guy, he does not know what he's really walking into. And he says, "Let me do the talking. You don't know these Gauls." And I love the fact that right at the back that you got all these Romans, and they're sort of saying, "Stop pushing at the back there," and up the back they're saying, "Not so fast up front." So they're just deliberately trying not to walk. Clearly, trying not to get there.
Yeah,
they're in no hurry to get there, are they?
Yeah, and I do like the way that when he gets at the gates and then he's speaking and wants to speak to the chief, the way the speech bubbles are drawn, it's all flowery and literally flowery and polite, asking to go in.
Yeah. So
and the other one,
stupid idiots, charge.
There's always one gung ho idiot, isn't there?
Yeah,
There's always one.
And the rest of it, and then it's like, Romans. Yeah, well, you know what happens to every battle.
Well, you know what happens. Yeah, I do like the way this one's worded, though.
Yeah.
What was it? The battle is short owing to the clever maneuvers carried out by the legionaries, notably a skillful withdrawal towards previously prepared positions.
Yeah. Few of them, whoever did, there was not enough time to maneuver.
The sarcasm in some of these panels is just,
Oh, yeah. So meanwhile, they're inquiring with the child, why the Romans after it, and once again you see the little, my daddy is the strongest daddy in the world, and silly old Julius Caesar is frightened of my daddy, and silly old Julius Caesar had me brought to Gaul to frighten my daddy, but that won't stop my daddy bashing silly old Julius.
It's the classic, isn't it? My daddy's bigger than your daddy.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
He is such a little git. I'm sorry, I keep saying this. He is a little git.
He's about, I guess the mental image of this character is that, like, he's that 4-year-old-ish, maybe 3.5, 4 years old. He's just learned to talk and toddle, and he's getting in everywhere, and he's got an answer for everything.
But he is getting. This is the thing. Throughout this whole book, I do not like him at all. He's never becomes likable, in my opinion.
He doesn't, no, and that's an interesting deviation, I think, from previous Obelisk ones.
Yeah.
Someone's made a point in there, Sammy. That's a brilliant point. I do wonder if Monty Python have read these books, because a lot of the jokes they seem to use.
Oh, hello, Ilya's in the chat.
Hey, Ilya.
Yeah. By the way, we will at the end of this stream, Ilya. We will be plugging your channel and this evening. So just um
Yeah.
we will do that later, Ilya. So just so you know. Um.
How
So
do I?
I love the fact he's Obelix. I'm handing this little terror over to you, and don't forget
Like the
that,
chief has
don't,
got the measure of this kid,
don't forget that he's your guest. He's sacred. You mean
and
he's
you'd
a
never.
holy terror?
Yeah, never, ever, ever, ever let the child hear you say that. Also,
Mm,
Ilya, I've given you a wrench, so if you want to shield yourself, by all means, go ahead.
yeah, yeah. I'll just say now. I know there's not many people watching now, but if by any chance anyone in the chat is not subbed to Sit Down with Debunkers, which is Ilya's, it's a channel Ilya's involved with a number of other people. Go and sub them now because they are closing in on 1,000 subs. So last time I checked, they were only like 10 or 15 away. So we want to try and get them to 1,000 subs. So, but we'll talk about that. I'll talk about that in a bit more detail later. So, where are we? So if we finally get the name of this kid, right? And it says, so what's your first name, son of a Jesus? Pericles. We got some Greek ancestors at home, but they call me Pepe.
Oh, I just, yeah,
I love it.
Pericles. I love it. I think
Yeah,
it's brilliant. Um, it's just, and the thing is, Pericles was obviously he was a Greek.
yes.
Probably best known for
He was,
building the Parthenon and
yeah, I think because we touched on things like the Delian League and so on last week.
mm,
And Pericles was very much a very skilled politician in Athens of that period, and a lot of what he's probably known for is rebuilding the Acropolis, including the Parthenon, which is the famous temple to Athena that stands
and
on, and
for being a great
probably
orator.
and being a great orator and politician. Of course, he did drag Athens into the Peloponnesian War as well,
Yeah.
but
I
yeah.
mean, he did give the famous funeral oration,
Mm.
but as it were. So this kid's quite clearly someone decided he's mouthy, so it's a good name to suit.
Mm.
So anyway, just thought I'd point that out, and off we go.
So the Romans are going to station lookouts around the village. He's still sulking today because he's got to eat some boar. Although apparently he's going to nothing else. And he said it's boring here, so puns again.
And then typical kid throwing a fit. He doesn't want boar. He wants fish.
And he's holding his breath, and so Obelix is going out to get some fish. And I mean, it's good actually because unhygienics here does become a recurring background kind of character throughout this. To be honest,
yeah, and the way Obelix is a fast learner.
Mm.
Obelix learns fast here because he's already realised he can make people do whatever he wants by holding his breath.
Yeah. He says, I don't have any money, blah, blah, and yeah. You can always pay me with a menhir when you do. Yeah, I love that. And then he gets back with his fish. You needn't bother. He's tried some of the boar. He actually likes it. And in fact, he ate your boar too. And because he goes in there, and the little git bites Obelix again. And he's going to say he was going to hit me with that fish. Pericles, Pepe, he is so annoying. Sorry, he's absolutely annoying. So They're going to go. Obelix is going to try and return the fish here, and this is it. This is the worst thing. You see the panel in the middle here, Hissy?
Yeah.
The little git is bitten Dogmatics. I'm sorry.
Oh, puppy.
He's actually and Obelix is like, I'm going to give you a spanking for this. He said, "Oh, don't forget, I'm your guest. I'm sacred, so calm down." And
well,
I
this
love the
kid,
fact, yeah.
crap. He's just got no redeeming features.
Well, Unhygienics and Obelix have had a fight over this fish, and who Obelix tries to return it and give it back to him, and we just ends up in a punch up in the village. He said, "Whose fish is this?" It landed in my face. The Obelix threw. I love this. He points to Unhygienics and said, "Oh, it's his. He hired it out to me." And they start hitting one another.
Mm.
Oh, just a. Here's the thing as well. You see, this is the blacksmith fully automatic. So I'll explain something to you here. He and Unhygienics always actually start becoming like, always seem to end up having to go at one another.
Is fully automatic's friends with anyone in the village?
Not really, not particularly. But I think it's kind of with Unhygienics. I think it's kind of a love-hate thing. With Cacophonics, he just does not like Cacophonics. And they all start having a punch up with one another.
Yes, they do. Typical.
So the Asterix tries to get the chief to sort this out, and so they run out. And I love this. I love this little gag. His shield bearers run out here. He says, "Wait for how many times I told you, bend down when you go out of the house." I love it.
It's brilliant. It is absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
And then just let's see, where are we?
And yeah, it's like I think we get to a certain thing where they've realized that this kid's a nuisance. They need to get rid. They need to return it. When the Asterix and Obelix try to get rid of him, and for some reason, though, despite the fact that he bit it seems like him and Dogmatics has started to form a little bit of a bond.
Yeah, well, you know what they say, dogs are really forgiving.
Yeah. And he's actually, and Obelix is a bit concerned that he's becoming a bad example for Dogmatics. He's easily led. Sometimes they whisper together and look at me and giggle. And this is the thing, Obelix is like, he's actually kind of getting jealous of the kid because Dogmatics is taking a shine to him for some reason. I don't understand why, but
yeah, because Dogmatics is his dog.
And so they hand him off to Cacophonics.
And then I do love this idea that the kid is reminded of the goats at home.
Yeah, I love
it's
it.
just some very classic songs that we can see going on. Rockabye Pepe.
Yeah.
Obviously, Dreaming of a White Solstice, which kind of gives us a time frame for this. The thing about this comic, and I will point it out later as well, there's a very interesting use of anachronisms in this, which we will get onto. So,
I love this little thing at the end. The chief's going, Asterix, I'm beginning to think it's our moral duty to restore that child to his parents. And it goes, the little pun there, yes, it's a question of morale. not moral,
Around.
but yeah,
Yes, because this kid's going to drive us all mad if we don't.
yeah. So they ask him where his village is. He says, "I don't know where it is, but it's the best. But it's the best village in the world, and my house is the best house in the village. And you still have a big nose." He is. There's at a point I am actually wanting like Asterix or Obelix to slap him. I really am.
Yeah, I mean that immediately tells me he's under 3 because most 3-year-olds I think can give you something like an address. 3-4-year-olds, it's something kids are taught. I think now in like nursery school. So you're kind of expected to know it. Once you're big enough to walk, you should be big enough to tell people where to take you home.
They realise that the Romans. Obelix actually kind of hits on the idea that the Romans probably know where he lives. So let's go shake down the Romans, quite literally. Shaking him out of the trees.
Yeah, and then Obelix having a bit of fun with them at their expense there, as usual.
His village is south of Hispalis, which is
modern day Seville.
Modern day Seville. So we're looking at the south of Spain here. So obviously the Gauls have decided. So they've realised that the Gauls, they're going to go and tell their superior that the Gauls are going to try and return the little brat home.
And the Romans have decided not to tell their commanding officers this little fact.
Yeah.
I do like this pun here as well. Get back up the tree. We're not nuts.
Yeah.
So.
So they're so meanwhile back in Rome, Caesar's holding a triumph. It's a success for his captive audience, literally.
Yep, and it looks like
Caesar magnanimously sets the barbarian chieftain free. I want to just touch on this. There is some kind of historical context for these kind of things within Rome, isn't there? With
these triumphs and bringing prisoners back and marching them through the streets. It's a very it was a fairly common practice. It was kind of, the idea was the triumph, all the loot, all the gold, all the statues, all the prisoners / anything else.
I think
it's paraded through. It's the idea of, look what we've brought back for the empire.
I think I know it certainly isn't entirely unheard of that you would parade prisoners through it. I mean, but I think it's more the fact that there's a few famous examples rather than it being. I mean, the two most famous examples would be Vercingetorix, who was obviously was then ritually murdered. But then later on, under the Roman Emperor Claudius, the British chieftain Caradocus was brought back to Rome, and that famously he was set free by Claudius and given like a villa in the sort of Roman countryside. And
that's all fairly common. Now I will say the way he's dressed in that triumph, Caesar there, when they came back on a triumph, they're more likely to be, they would have been dressed in the purple toga with the gold. If you've ever seen Gladiator, the way Commodus dresses at the start, very similar to that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, obviously there was purple itself. There was a little.
Yeah, because purple was the divine colour, essentially. It identified them as divine or near king or near king. Some of them would even paint their faces red.
I actually believe Julius Caesar kind of got into trouble once or twice for wearing purple, because this obviously that's the days of the Roman Republic. They Romans, but you got to actually remember that the Romans at the time of Caesar were pretty suspicious of kings and
anything that indicates a king. So in a traditional Roman triumph, it would have been purple and gold. laurel crown, red boots, possibly a red painted face. So that they're not playing it down at all. The procession itself is essentially it's a victory parade. Look at when a team wins the league in football.
Yeah, when they go around on the open top bus or whatever, and hold the cup up, that sort of thing.
Yeah. So the kind of idea, I'm just quickly having a look. Fairly standard processional order: captive leaders, allies, and soldiers, usually walking in chains, some destined for execution or further display. Captured weapons, armor, loot.
Yeah.
Curious or exotic creatures carted behind with paintings, tableau models. And so essentially, it's very much, it's.
Yeah.
It's almost like the start of the Olympics more than anything else. It's very much designed, and I mean that in the modern sense, it's very much designed to showcase this is what happened in the war, this is who won, and this is who lost. In an age before TV, you can see why that would be how to do it.
So I'm just going to get back to the book then. So they're going to be taking a little get back to Spain. Little Pepe. So they decide they're going to take him part of the way, at least by boat. Unhygienics has a fishing boat. It says that he could take us. He said he's been in a bit of a bad mood recently, but it's like they're going to go see the fishmonger again here. And he's getting straight. He's already annoyed because they've had a fight over the fish earlier.
Yeah.
He said, I said, they're just saying we want to hire out the boat, and
and of course Asterix thinks he's clever again.
Yeah. And I said, and he says he wants to be paid in menace. Now I love this little panel down at the bottom. I'm gonna zoom in on this, the bottom row.
I'm so glad you picked up on that.
Now bear in mind that this is something that is like 20 to 25 miles from my house. He said, very well, I'd like to be paid in menace. So it just so happens I've inherited some property in Britain and want to develop it. So he wants to be paid in stones. The fact is, Unhygienics' property was located on Salisbury Plain. Suggests a solution to archaeological problems that have mystified so many scholars.
Of course, they're talking about
that's Stonehenge. He's talking about, and I said Salisbury Plain is not. It's about 20 to 25 miles from where I live, Stonehenge. So. So I say Salisbury's about 20 miles away from me, and Stonehenge would be about 25. So, I actually got to say, as far as stone circles in Britain, I actually prefer Avebury over Stonehenge as a place to visit.
Well, it's less tourist trappy for a start.
Yeah, it's less tourist trap. You can actually go into the stone circle, and it's way bigger than. I mean, the fact that there's a village inside of the stone circle says a lot.
Yeah.
Anyway, so they're going to take little Pepe home. They sorted him out with the boat.
Right, careful with this because I know.
I know what's coming. You know what happened? Well, let's just say you know what happens
when the pirates
when they go on a boat journey. You know what's coming up.
Yeah,
is it? We're okay on this page. It's the next one.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, people know why we sort of skip over these. I mean, unfortunately, I do know there's one coming up in a few weeks where I know we can't avoid it, and we'll just give trigger warnings out at the start. But
so I do like the idea of the they were going to leave the shipping boat alone, and then it went barreled straight towards them.
Yeah. So usual thing, and little get they were going to leave dogmatics at home as well, and a little get smuggled them, and your Asterix and dogmatics and the little Obelix all holding their breath because they got the hump of Asterix.
Yeah, it's what's funny as well. Cacophonics here.
On unhygienic, sorry, is it all?
No, Cacophonics when it says time for me to give you a, and he's going to say a farewell song, and semi-automatics just smacked him one with fish.
Oh, fully automatic. Yeah, he always wills it. They all. Okay. Anyway, I was going to skip the bottom bit of that page because for reasons, if people have been watching these streams for a while, know now and will already know why. And you know what happens? These poor pirates. You've got to feel a bit sorry for them in a way. They don't have a lot of luck, but they actually decide to leave their boat afloat for a time, but they just take all their food supplies. Sorry, yeah, this one at the bottom. I just realised. I'm gonna skip it. Sorry, because people know if you're a first time, if you are watching this back and you're a first time watcher of this, I'll just say go back and watch Asterix and the Gladiator that Hissy and I did. Asterix the Gladiator that Hissy and I did, and we talk about this at quite a bit of length. So
yeah, we do talk about it quite a length, but basically it's just we're trying to avoid showing racist.
There's some nasty there's some nasty caricatures in these books, which is our biggest criticism, and there's it's just we're not going to show them any more than we need to.
Yeah.
So if they're not important to the storyline or the plot point or something, we're going to try and get past them as soon as possible.
Yeah, and we are saying at every turn, if we have to show them, we are not showing these happily. We are definitely not in support of these kind of caricatures, and definitely we are saying they're not acceptable.
Absolutely.
So, just as a summary. But if you do want to have more of a discussion in depth about the history of it and what went on and why they appear in these comics in the way they do, Asterix and the Gladiator, the first 10 minutes.
Yeah. So
off they go. Unhygienics has sailed back.
So he's taken them all the way around the Bay of Biscay, I suppose, or down at coast of France, and he drops them off sort of somewhere along the border, modern day Spain.
I think this joke is so British.
This is British, but you get the feeling that the French must do something like this as well.
Yeah.
This is goddamn caravan holidays, isn't it?
This is caravan holidays, but it's also, you ever been on the motorway and some prat in a Porsche just blazes past? It's like, you don't own the road. Just, yeah, ugh.
But they've literally got their houses and that on the back of the and there's a great big traffic queue trying to get down to the holiday destinations with it's probably not such a big thing anymore in the UK, but caravanning was big.
Well, it can't be a big thing in the UK anymore. Top Gear destroyed all the caravans.
Oh yes, true.
So that was Top Gear. Watch it, and again, that's another one that has its issues. But they were caravans for fun.
Not a fan I'm not a fan of that show anyway. So
yeah.
But the Roman legionaries are at the border. They're holding them all up, and so I just love the fact. And he said, "You can like they're going to move along the line or whatever." He said, "No, you're just getting a queue like the rest of us. We've been crawling all along like this since Burgundy, which is Bordeaux, which I'm assuming the name Burgundy kind of originates from that Latin, but I'm guessing. That's a guess.
Fine, I wouldn't want to take a guess on the etymology there.
Yeah, as a guess. That's purely a guess. Obviously, busking. we're at there. So very much you can tell they're in northern Spain.
Mm-hmm.
And
cold in all rooms, brilliant.
And where do we get to?
Has anyone ever known that one toddler who'll only eat fish fingers?
Yeah.
It's a very common thing. And I think that's what this is kind of playing off a little bit.
Yeah.
Kid who finds one food he likes and then won't stop.
So it's got this guy that's going to be a guide to get him through the Pyrenees, I think. It'll be so he's going to charge him like at 10 30, 5 30 per person per trip. And said, well, be aware there's patrols about. So here comes a Roman control, and Dogmatic straight away goes charging in.
But see, this is cute because the kid kind of does like the dog. You can tell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even though he's actually been a bit of a bad influence on the dog. And poor guy, he's terrified. He doesn't know what's going on here. But they go, and a little brat bites another Roman soldier, and
his response is brilliant. It's not bad manners to bite the Romans.
Yeah, you got no manners, sort of. And he's like, I like that Obelix. He picks up Dogmatic, says, "You see what a bad influence he is on you." I love. I love the name of the guide as well. Oh, Vacation.
Yeah, Vacation.
For a Tory.
Yeah, on Vacation.
Tourist, yeah.
Didn't know you have to be vacationated to go to Spain, which was the joke on the last page. This I just really love this panel again with this guy and his beautiful, beautiful landscapes.
Oh, it is the absolute best thing Albert Uderzo does as an illustrator to me. Are the landscapes? They are. I mean, it's just really weird because even though the characters in it are so cartoonish and so on, it just fits well, and it's really it's like you could feel that you could draw quite serious sort of pictures and stuff, but also cartoon, and either way it works.
And I think that contrast between the really cartoonish characters and the beautiful landscapes is really nicely done.
Absolutely. I mean that, and it's really as an artist, this is what I love about Albert Uderzo. It is the landscapes he does in these, and like some, especially ones, but even that one without any of the buildings there, that you could just it's absolutely spot on. So go on. They decide to camp out somewhere. They wake up in the middle, and there's all the tourists with the caravans are there. Oh, so it's like a little town sprung up around them.
Yeah, which is just that classic caravan site, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely, it is absolutely. Okay. It's our hitchhiking friends, Okay, so let's get to the next. We must be. So they're going on along on a journey a bit further.
Who have they just met here? This character they meet here. Let's see if anyone in the chat recognizes him. He's a little bit out of his time and place. But a man who thinks he's a knight attacking windmills.
You might have to put me out my misery here, Hissy. Ring's in the chat. He might know.
Ring's got it. Yeah, it's Don Quixote and Sancho Panza.
Yeah.
So this just amused me. As a lip fiend, that just
And again, once again, they're going to what's the town? Oh, what is the town here? I forget. But again, look, another beautiful landscape there. I think that he's drawn this town.
Yeah, right. We're coming up to something here, and I am going to say now and on the next couple of pages, it's not what you think it is. We'll show it then.
You're going to see this thing with these druidical processions. Should we? I don't know if you want to go with it now, but should we explain it to it when we get to the actual point, which people might misinterpret about this?
Yeah, it's a few pages away. Actually, looking at it.
Yeah.
But it's not what you think it is. But fair warning, when you start seeing procession images,
yeah. Well, I mean, you'll see when we get to it, but we don't mind explaining it when we get there because it's and I love this here. We got the repeat tourist. I love this Gothic spoken. We speak English. Oh dear. And they run into the Romans are in the Romans in his here, and he suddenly, and it just turns out that that guy Brontosaurus, who's supposed to be leaving the little brat in Gaul, suddenly turns round and sees he got Asterix and Obelix returning this little git to Spain, and he realizes he is going to be in big trouble with Julius Caesar.
I do like the sort of the undercurrent of this as well. There's always, I don't know what it is, and it's going to Spain and getting food poisoning.
Yeah,
it seems like that's a trope. Which is not fair because Spanish food's quite nice. When it's done properly. So there's that bit there, and the kid's giving himself hiccups now because he's drunk the wine.
Yeah. Oh, I love that, and I love the way Asterix tells him, an actual genuine way that you can get rid of hiccups, and he says, "I don't want to do it. So try holding your breath," which is what this little git does every single time he's throwing it. He's having a tantrum, and he said, like the one time we might help him out here. So now, meanwhile, our Roman here is he's got the cart and the outfit here to offer this guy to make himself look like a Spaniard. He's just trying to blend in, and they got this guy with a cart here. He ends up with a Roman uniform. He's like, tourists are great this time of year.
Yeah.
Track's in a terrible state. Yes, on brace, but
state of the roads everywhere.
I get a feeling that this must be some sort of dig that maybe maybe at the time Spanish roads were not what they were made out to be.
Maybe it's just a dig that roadworks always seem to happen at the height of bleeding summer. Which that gives Ring the opportunity to make his joke about where he's from.
Yeah. The next bit I'm going to say, I was a little bit concerned when I read this that there was going to be a bit of the nomads. When I first saw this, I was a little concerned about where they might go with this.
Yeah, but I was actually pleasantly surprised with it.
Yeah, absolutely. These are obviously, this is a Romany traveling family here. like for lack of a better term, we'll say gypsy families that they're across. For lack of a better term, it's not a
But
great.
it's
not
not
a
the
great
best
term.
term in the world to be using. Please
Yeah.
don't repeat it. And please don't ever use it to anyone who actually is of traveller descent or is a traveller.
Yeah.
Unless they've told you they're okay with
And
it.
I was very concerned with this when I first saw it because I was, because of some of the, not just the prejudice that they face here in the UK, but across Europe.
Yeah, they get a lot of
was-
stick across Europe, and I know a few traveller families, and they're great families.
Yeah.
And it's just, yeah.
Yeah, both Rome. Yeah, both sort of. I mean, and as well, I'll say, especially people in Britain, learn the difference between Romany and Irish travellers, for goodness sake.
Oh, please do. Yeah, it would help.
That would please at least learn that difference. But they're portrayed very sort of fairly there, and they welcome Asterix and Obelix in, and have a good time. They have a good night dancing.
And the kid apparently teaches them a bit of Spanish.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and he's snoring in Spanish, and Dogmatics wakes up. He's like, "Yo, ole, ole, ole!" And it's suddenly like, "Ole!" They're all up dancing again.
Yeah,
And there was a bit of fun there, but there was nothing nasty in that. Which when I first came across that, I was kind of concerned about where they might go with the humour there.
Yeah. But they've stuck to, I think, a very fair representation there. A little bit of the artwork, well, she's just more like a flamenco dancer than anything else, but
yeah,
beautiful little bit of humour there. And nice to see a positive representation,
especially with some of the other issues that we've discussed in these books. That was refreshing. They lose a wheel going along here, and oh, look who happens to pull up with them, behind them. It's our Roman friend who's been following them. He's trying to get the kid back, and he tries to make out that he's a nomad as well.
And I love how Obelix is asking the kid for his opinion on the guy singing.
Yeah, not very good, but it's quite good.
That nice accompaniment.
Hissy, are you okay if I step away for like 2 seconds to get some ice that I badly need for the to
go for it. I'll talk to this page while we wait.
Anyone who's watching this live knows that it is absolutely hot right now. For those for those watching in the future, sorry, British people don't do good in hot weather.
Don't do heat.
So if you just want to, so if you just want to sort of take him through what we kind of got going on this page, or I would be as quick as I can be.
Go for it. So he's going to rescue them, help them out with the spare tire, and he tries to bargain to take the kid, and they disagree, and they find themselves at a fodder station, which you can see on your top left here. Cart's repaired, a bit of a quick fit thing going on there. And will all of us go? So I'm looking at it on my phone screen because I can't really see the writing there. Some people need a cartwheel. Tell them you haven't got one, and here's some money. And this is a joke, and I saw this done on other things as well, where they pay the guy, and he's already doing what they paid him for, which and just because they didn't let him get a word in edgeways, they've paid him to do something he was going to do anyway. So it's quite fun. It's an amusing little take on how to take a tourist for a ride a little bit. although in this, the Spaniard is obviously quite innocent in all of it. Let the locals get a word in. Save yourself some money. If you're going to pull something like that, although I should hope no one is going to go to Spain, try to kidnap a child, and pay off a quick fit owner to not have a tire in. But I mean, yeah, no, don't do that. It's illegal. I was going to say you do you, but don't. Now I'm kind of. They're going to eventually. I'm going on to the next page, which I'm sure Geoff will show you when he comes back. So the poor owner now has to tell them he doesn't have a wheel for them. And the Roman is trying to still capture this child in the meantime by distracting them from actually looking out for him. And they've realised this guy wants the kid, so we know that's not going to happen. It's just how it goes, isn't it? Again, though, with this panel, you can see here. Let me have a look. The landscape.
I'm back. Sorry to keep you there.
Yeah, no problem.
Sorry for that.
Of any other comics with such beautifully drawn landscapes as this, please, please, please tell me about them, because they are gorgeous.
Oh, yeah. He does draw some absolutely fantastic landscapes, does Albert Uderzo.
Yeah.
So where did we get to? You got through.
I got to the end of this page and talked a bit about the next one. I was going to say, when on holiday, you do you, but kidnapping is a line, so please don't. Anyway, so they're arriving now in this Spanish town, smack in the middle of what's quite clearly some kind of religious festival.
Yeah. And it seems to be that they're traveling actually through multiple multiple towns in Spain, and the same festival is going on each time.
Yeah, so I mean, this festival is fairly widespread, quite obviously.
Yeah, which we will address it in a bit. And the reason was, I think, because of what's coming up, we'll probably address the whole thing and kind of what's going on here in a bit. So,
and to be fair, this festival is a tourist attraction nowadays as well.
Absolutely, yes, it is a bit. It absolutely is a bit of a tourist attraction, this thing. But yeah, it's obviously not a pagan thing anymore, though. Like they're portraying here, it will be very much a Catholic thing.
Yeah, no, which we will get into as well. So this Romans followed them all the way through Spain.
Yeah, so they go through Coca, Segovia, Salamanca, and Cordoba, which is that's what it was going through this thing here. I've got to say, there's not many places in Spain I really want to see. Cordoba is one of them, though. And all this time that he's not been able to he's been trying to look for an opportunity to get hold of this kid, isn't he?
Yeah, right. I'm going to ask, because this one here, is it me, or is this guy deliberately being drawn to look like an extra out of the Adam and the Ants video?
It looks like, I think this is before Adam and the Ants were a thing, but it kind of looks like it.
I wonder if they took some cues from it, because Stand and Deliver, it's very it's a line from one of their songs, and I just looked at it and I was like,
songs, isn't it? Yeah. And I just know he's trying to be charming. Just a moment, Noble Forest. You are going to hand over all your property. We are bandits. I'm sure you'll understand that we too have to make a profit during the tourist season. And they were having an argument over who's going to get them here. And eventually they settle Asterix is going to be the one. And despite the fact that Obelix and the kid who both start holding their breath again, but Asterix decides to, and has a slug of magic potion, bashes the hell out of the bandits. And the Romans kind of realizing that about the magic potion here. Right now, this is it. This is what we need to address.
Right. This is not what you think it is.
Absolutely not. Okay.
If you're American, this particular panel is going to immediately stir up particular memories, images, ideas.
Should I focus in on this or not, Hissy? Your
I think
call.
it's okay as it is.
Yeah. Okay.
This is a Catholic rite that's performed in Spain. This is the origin of where that kind of costuming came from, but it has no link whatsoever to any concepts of white supremacy. It's it's essentially a penitential rite performed by the incredibly devout, and I think members of certain monasteries and what have you do this every year.
And this is what this festival that's been going on kind of is, that we've seen in the previous panels, which we said we were going to cover. We thought we'd leave it to this point because people will see this panel and immediately think
there's something not,
what are they trying to portray here?
So no, this is a religious rite. It's got absolutely nothing to do with any particular organizations in America.
The only thing we'll say is that we think that the particular organization who you might think this is kind of stole this and appropriated it for themselves.
Yeah, no, they did absolutely.
Which is kind of funny for like an ultra Protestant sort of organization to adopt something that Catholic orders.
It's a very Catholic thing, and I mean, just from another point of view, there Catholics in Spain before Christ. Which, you know, Spain has got a reputation of being an incredibly Catholic country. So there's kind of, I feel like there's a little bit of a joke in that somewhere as well, if you want to read that deeply into it. And that did make me giggle because I thought, oh, Catholics before Christ. Yeah, that makes sense. Spain. So it's one of those.
That's what that is, people. That's not what perhaps you'd immediately think when you see that on.
Anecdote on that. I was shown a video of the actual. You can see videos on YouTube and stuff of those sessions going on in real life in school, and I was the kid who put my hand up and said, "That's what that looks like." And the teacher said, and that's how I know about it, because the teacher tells us that's not what that is at all. It's got nothing to do with it whatsoever.
No, absolutely not.
So definitely not what you think it is. And he's a very religious, very devout rite.
It's more something that a certain organisation whose name I'd loathe to mention appropriated their own version of it. And as I said earlier, it's kind of ironic that an organisation that is ultra Protestant like that one would appropriate something that monastic Catholic orders use. So it's kind of...
Or if you take a look at the banner, you can probably work it out for yourself what we're avoiding if you don't know already. That's as far as we're taking that, and we're not going to make any further mention of them because they don't deserve that kind of commentary, I don't think. So, but
no, I've talked about them on other streams before and whatever, but when it's been pertinent to the stream, I don't.
And I mean, greatest respect to the Spaniards who take part in that rite, because it's not an easy rite to take part in, and they do. You know, there's historically there would be sort of self-flagellation and other things going on as well. So it's definitely not something you would want to.
It's actually, if anything,
incredibly devout.
It's actually, this thing's actually covered, I think, in the film version of the Da Vinci Code, right at the very beginning when Tom Hanks is giving his presentation about, and he shows the symbol of that costume. What do you think that costume means? And people immediately think, well, hatred and bigotry. Well, certain people in Spain who would disagree with you. But anyway, but anyway, let's go on then. They go to this hotel room, and I just love it. The Germans are already here, and the innkeepers are. So the innkeepers here is already. Today's menu is sausage, sauerkraut, and beer. And
that's not very Spanish.
No, but you look at all the customers they got; they're all
Yeah,
Germans. Because
oh, German.
this,
I
do you want to
was,
explain this little? Do you want to explain this little kind of? Because I thought this was mainly sort of a British kind of trope kind of thing about Germans on holiday.
yeah, so did I. Uh, this is one of those. It's very
It's a stereo. I would just say it is a stereotype. That's probably it isn't really true, but
yeah,
there's a certain but it's not necessarily a malicious stereotype. But there's this kind of stereotype thing of like when you go on holiday somewhere in Europe, that the Germans always get there first. Like
yeah,
you want to set yourself up by the pool or on the beach. You guarantee the Germans will be up at the crack of dawn and they will get the best spots first.
yeah. They'll put their towels down. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
kind of what's going on
that's
with it.
the
And it's one of those.
it's not true, of course, but you know, it's like
But
an old.
it's an old sort of, yeah. It's not intended maliciously anymore, I think, but there was a time when there was a definite undercurrent to it, I would say.
I mean, there was some good. I mean, there was even some like humorous like commercials made about it, like of I think Carling Black Label or whatever when the British guy
Yeah,
was
racing
yeah,
to the bar, yeah.
yeah,
Um,
that was quite.
and then there's always the standing joke of what is essentially an image of a Karen and
Mm,
three Germans racing to the one seat by the pool.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
kind of that sort of mental image that it stirs up in Europeans.
Mm.
Um,
So anyway, we get to think that our Roman friend here, old Brontosaurus, decides he's going to take some of Asterix's magic potion from him. Gets into his bag and apparently and makes a bit of a noise. It's unfortunately makes enough noise that the guy jumps out, and then in the next room, Dogmatics and so on are woken up. Obelix and that, because Obelix is with the kid, by the way, who this guy has not been able to get he's not been able to get his hand on the kid, which is what he's been trying to get his hands on this whole time. So run into the Roman, these other Romans down here, and looks like both of them kind of get arrested here because,
yeah,
like, even though he's trying to explain that he's like a Roman
well,
centurion,
his mate recognizes him, and they end up being dragged up in front of the commander in chief, which kind
yeah,
of to me screams, privates on leave.
mm,
You've been out, you've had a good time, but where's your uniform?
yeah.
Yeah, what are you doing in civvies? Yeah.
So yeah, so he's giving him a dressing down, saying you were in charge of that young kid, the hostage, the little git. You brought us back a goal. Like, so what's going on? He's trying to explain what's going on here. So they send him off to find the kids. And he's got the gourd of the magic potion here, and he says, "Oh, General, I rather think it's something to do with this magic potion, the one only known to a little tribe of Gaulish barbarians. It is said to give great strength. You don't say." So he takes a slug of it. Yeah, come here, dear fellow. Bang. Poor guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Asterix finds himself locked up with that other Roman.
This to me screams like, that trope, two soldiers in a foxhole?
Yeah.
Opposing soldiers in a foxhole kind of thing. It screams that.
Absolutely, yeah.
Sorry, don't mind me. I've got a puppy over there. Right, so and that's just the way they stick together. There is just it's kind of sweet. It's nice to see Asterix actually talking to a Roman instead of just smacking him about a bit.
Yeah.
Um,
And the CEO gives them bad news. He says that the bad news to you that the other two, meaning and she puts it the fat ghoul and the hostage, which just well, Obelix isn't around to hear him say that. And they've left and they're nowhere to be found. What we can do now is besiege. So they decide the Romans are going to decide they're going to besiege the village and but of the Spanish village, and they're going to take the Asterix and this Roman with them. So, but meanwhile, Asterix and the Roman here, Brontosaurus, they've got a little date with the arena now. So, yeah, they have a little date here with the amphitheater, and they're being led out here. And it's saying, "Oh, I hope you know." So, and this general here trying to impress this lady. I'm guessing it's his wife. So here come the victims. Is look, you know.
I will say there are some beautiful Roman amphitheaters in Spain. So if you ever get the chance to go, definitely do. Some of them, you know, are definitely on a maybe not in size, but definitely for how well preserved they are on a par with.
I'll say this. Yeah. Now this Roman woman, is saying it's a little bit hot, just like it is here in real life right now. So she shouldn't have put her cloak on, which is bright red. And Asterix is expecting the lions to be sent out. Oh, we don't have.
We don't have lions here. This is what we have.
Yeah.
Hang on. I've got motorcyclists. I do apologise if you can hear that. Can't be helped.
I heard it. It's all right, but.
So here we go. They're in the ring, and this woman drops her cloak.
Yeah.
Which I think we're about to learn the origin of Spanish bullfighting.
Yeah, he's chasing the other Roman around it. Asterix decides to pick up the cloak. I says, "Oh, never mind. I'll pick it up for you. I'll save it for you so it doesn't get dirty." And it's just that keep away from it, you know. And it's like suddenly, and you see the crowd start with going "Ole, ole, ole" every time they go through it, and then the ball runs into the wall. Unfortunately, yeah, a bit. It's a humorous take on it. I mean, I think bullfighting's fucking barbaric. Actually, it's just my
the responses. I don't know if it's still done, but I do know historically they used to butcher it, didn't they? Afterwards.
I don't know to what extent. It's still. I think the thing that I kind of got very angry about was when I found out that because the big pro argument for bullfighting was, well, the bull's got a fair chance. And then I found out that some of them were being, shall we say, having their horns hollowed out, so their one weapon was being disabled from them.
Yeah, horns hollowed out. There's references to certain things being put in the food to slow them down. It's not a fair fight, and the point is, even healthy bulls that don't get injured during it can be, you know, euthanized at the end.
It's tormenting. Even if you look about this, I mean, I suppose modern bullfighting probably is the closest thing in a way you see to the kind of gladiatorial games where they do wild animal hunts and stuff.
Yeah,
for sport.
You know, it's not designed to do anything but kill the bull and make the.
I don't like to knock cultures or whatever, but I think bullfighting's barbaric personally.
I mean, I get it; it's a cultural thing, but I put bullfighting and fox hunting in the same kind of category.
Yeah.
There.
Well, this is the thing. Like they've always said, fox hunting's a traditional cultural thing in Britain, and I'm like, no, piss off. It's barbaric sport.
No, it's not. It's, if your idea of fun is to jump on a horse and chase down a defenseless animal for
Yeah,
2 hours,
and hunt it for dogs. Yeah,
yeah, and you're not even hunting it for meat or for, any possible reason,
yeah.
possibly reasonable reason, especially in modern times when we have supermarkets.
Mm.
It's just no.
Anyway,
I,
have we had our rant on these kind of sports, Sissy, or not?
I don't think we have. But I'm a great believer in, if you need to hunt for food, or if you're hunting in a controlled environment to control a population, kind of have at it, but show respect to the animal you're killing, and don't waste it, and don't torment it. There are lines you don't cross, and quite frankly, if you're willing to torment an animal,
Yeah, there's something.
there's something
Yeah,
seriously wrong with
there's
you if you're
something.
doing that.
There's
And I
something.
will say
There's
it
something.
outright.
Yeah, and that's my big issue with bullfighting as well. Is it's not like a quick, easy kind of thing. It's those poor buggers, those poor animals are literally tormented and tortured to death. Really, it's not.
Yeah.
Anyway, look, I think I've had a rant on that.
Actually, speaking of, as Ring says, Top Gear's version of fox hunting was better. They painted a car up as a fox, put some fox urine
Yeah.
on it, scent of it, and sent the dogs after it, and that worked. No one got hurt, and it was a good laugh. So why can't they do that more often?
Actually, they've been
They
doing
do-
this.
They do things like that.
Technically, they actually are supposed to do that now. Like they can put something for scent on it and like drag it behind the Land Rover, so they can have a bit of fun, get the dogs a run, and then have a bit of fun out in the fields.
Yeah,
but no, most of them.
What happens is the dogs will accidentally get the scent of a real fox.
Yeah, and hold on, let me just see where I am on screen here, and I'm just going to say this: accidentally. Yeah, that's a whole nother rant, because fox hunting in the UK, if people don't know, is actually illegal, but it is not enforced.
Let's be honest, nothing's illegal in the country if you compare the fine.
Yeah, and to give a bit of cultural context, it's a sport that's always been, and I don't even like using the word sport for it, but it's a pursuit of the upper. It's always been a pursuit of the upper classes. Go out
to do it. You've got to afford your own land, your own horse, all that.
Yeah.
Gear that they wear and everything else. They do it half the time. They're drinking when they do it as well. So getting on a horse when you're drunk as well. The horses can't be too happy with a rider who's not all there, and it's
anyway.
not.
I think if we had enough rant about blood sports now, we do need to finish this.
At least.
Yeah, I could rant for hours on this stuff, honestly. Anyway, so they escaped the arena, and Asterix has gotten direction to the village. Obelix is smartly taken the little kid home. He found his village, took him home, and whilst the Romans are laying siege, he just shouts out Obelix. So looks like they're going to break out. Smash, going through the whole lot of them. They have a little hug and reunion there.
I do like this one, the Toothless General.
Yeah. We do 4 for 5 from reviews. Yeah, I see that. Yeah. And here we go. So we're getting towards the end here. They've brought the little brat back home to his
family.
You've looked after him so well. His cheeks are rosy as ever. I mean, he's already holding a straw, like the.
And now the kid decides he doesn't want them to go.
Yeah. Well, it's more it's dogmatics he's gonna miss. It's he likes dogmatics, and But
I
even
think
even Obelix has maybe started to like the kid a little bit, but I don't know why, because he was never likable. He was a brat throughout this entire thing.
yeah.
He's a little monster, and he just.
Dear parents, your children are not automatically cute to anyone but you.
You probably that sort of thing going on here.
They're really not. So they get home as usual, and a nice feast here.
Yep. And Obelix is doing some. Cacophonix is tied up, but Obelix is doing some like Spanish sort of flamenco dance type of thing. And
Actually singing the song that the travelers were.
And I love this. You see the little thing here in the corner, and I can't tell. This looks like fully automatic. So he's saying a fish, my kingdom for a fish.
Yeah. Of course, my, a horse, my kingdom for a horse.
Yeah.
Nice little shapes.
It gets the feeling. They get the feeling here that they don't particularly care for Obelix's Spanish dancing any more than they do for Cacophonix's singing for this last battle.
Cacophonix isn't happy because he knows he might actually get a chance to sing to stop Obelix dancing.
Yeah. Okie doke. So that was that book. I'm just gonna stop sharing the screen there, Hissy, so you and I are back full screen.
Yeah.
What did you think of that one?
I mean, I like that one. It's very again, it's a good little bit of fun, little bit of history in there, not too much. Nice straightforward story. I think it's the first time we've had a guest character that I genuinely don't like and didn't grow to like. I'm not a kid person at all. I'm really not. So putting up with the kid, I was just like, ugh. I get it, but oof.
Oh, sorry, I've got some good
jokes and what have you in there. I'm not a kid person.
By the way, I don't know. By the way, I'm just going to say something because obviously we are going to be getting to plugs in a minute. Ilya, I don't know if you were still listening in on the chat, but I just checked your channel. It says you're at 1,000 subs now.
Ooh, do we get to see Ilya's face later then?
Yeah, well, I'll get to that in a bit, but do you want to do some plugs first?
So yeah, plug wise, I am usually on Ring's channel for D&D on a Saturday evening UK time, and we explore the Draconic Continent with Julia LaVoice and Santi the Sane, and that's always fun. So come check that out. Right after this, we are going over to Media Musings on Ring's channel for a discussion on The Princess Bride. So expect lots of puns, lots of quotes, lots of jokes, and we'll see if we can make Ring do a couple of impressions as well. I'm sure he'll be happy to do that for his wife there. See what I can talk him into. So we'll definitely be over there. So come and join us there. I'm sure Ring can drop a link in the chat, and yes, he has.
I believe he already has. Yes.
Yeah, because my husband is definitely on the ball there. And as he said, you heard it here, folks. We're going to get some impressions out of Ring, so don't miss it. That's my plugging for this week. What I did want to do, and I will remind you all next week. Every week on Twitter, Classics Twitter watches a movie. And next week, they're actually going to do 2 Asterix and Obelix cartoons on Sunday night, 7 p.m. UK time. 2 o'clock Central, I think. Or I will be tweeting it out, so do keep an eye on that. And by all means, come and join us. Those films are available to watch if you've got Amazon Prime. So come along, tweet along with us. It's always a good laugh. Everybody welcome. You don't have to be a classicist to join in. You maybe just enjoy the stories. But definitely come and say hello, and I will keep an eye out.
We've been covering Asterix and Obelix. You don't really need to be a classicist to enjoy these books, but it's also interesting to look at it from that point of view, though. So
definitely, if you follow the tweets on that, you probably learn something as well. I know I do every week when we watch something. This week we're doing Trojan Women in a few hours, but that should be fun as well.
Okay, well, Something I'm going to plug for a little couple of hours later. It's not on my channel. And I've put a link to the actual stream. Sit Down with Debunkers are having a subs party. That's channel Ilya Moon, Punchy, Bull, Quiddies, Mr. Victory, a couple others. I think Global Mum are all involved with that channel. If anyone I missed out, I apologise. They put out some amazing content, and now they were planning to do their 500 subscriber party today at 6 p.m. our time, which is just under 2 hours. That's what, 1 p.m. Eastern. It is now, because their channel has just taken off like crazy in the last 2 weeks. It is now going to be their 1,000 subscriber party. We've been trying desperately, because I saw that we were like 980 or something. I was desperately trying to get them. We're desperately shilling out to them to try and get them to 1,000. I will say, if anyone watching this is not subbed to their channel already, go and sub, because they put out some awesome content.
Yeah.
But yeah, I have been invited to be a part of that, so that's what I'll be doing a bit later.
Cool. So go check out Geoff there. Plenty to be doing today. I don't know what time Ring's ready to go live with Media Musings. I'll hope he'll give me 5 minutes to grab a drink and what have you. Then we'll be going there. But that's what we're all up to at the moment. I'm not really doing anything on YouTube at the moment, but I'm active on Twitter. You know where I am. I'm at Danger Hissy. Follow Geoff if you aren't already. Follow me down there. Hit the like. Hit subscribe. Comment if you like. Enjoy. We really enjoy doing these streams, so as long as we've got an audience for them, I'm happy to keep on doing them. So, because it's really good fun. It's a nice, wholesome little roundup of the week as well, for the most part. And hopefully you all get something out of this and enjoy it. So I am going to ask Geoff in a moment to sign off with whatever his tagline is, and we will see you in the next one.
Well, you know, I don't really have a tagline, to be honest, Hissy. As you know, I just sort of say I'm done, and then that's kind of my sign off, to be honest. So I'll just probably leave it there, because I am probably going to need to get near a fan in a minute, because it is not, as you can probably tell, it is Scorchio here in the UK today. It is not. It is unpleasantly hot.
Yeah.
Just not something we're used to here.
Yeah, so you've got about 15 to 20 minutes to head on over to Ring's channel, grab a drink, sit down, enjoy. I certainly will. Don't accept a drink off a Sicilian. If you're going to do it that way, which, if you like that joke in The Princess Bride, more to come when we're over there. If you don't know The Princess Bride, I promise that's just a joke about the film.
I'm reluctant to jump in there, because I could spend the whole stream just talking about Andre the Giant in that movie alone. So
I mean, we'll probably spend a lot of it talking about Andre the Giant.
Yeah, just because of some of the stories about him and what he went in during that film as well. So
yeah, no. So definitely we'll head on over there, and if you're coming along, we'll see you soon. If not, as always, take care, be good, and if you can't be good, be careful.
see you later.